let's kind of look at this playoff predictor, man, and just kind of see if we can make sense of it. I mean, we try to kind of predict this as we go, but every time we predict something, stuff just kind of falls apart. Obviously, some of the teams that are in here have been in here for a little bit, but Mason, this is your baby. What are you thinking here? I mean, obviously we're picking Oregon here in this assumption in this scenario. We're picking Oregon, Georgia, Miami, and Boise to all win their conference championship games. Ohio State losing to Oregon again there at Lucas Oil Stadium. But beyond that, what are your kind of some of your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, I mean, starting at 12, I've got SMU, and what I'm thinking is they go to the college or go to the ACC championship game, lose that game to Miami, so Miami gets the 3 spot, and with a Clemson loss to South Carolina, that number 12 spot is going to be opened up. I could see it going to South Carolina. At that point, they would have another huge ranked win. That I don't, at least I don't feel like SMU's record would match up with South Carolina's at that point. But what I'm trying to do is predict what the committee is going to do here. This isn't based off of my judgment on who should be there. This is me trying to kind of gauge based off of what the committee has done so far. Arizona State at 11. I think that they win the Big 12 championship. They're playing really good football right now. Scatterboo is awesome. Very fun to watch. And I think that they're going to be able to get it done. They're the hot hand right now in the Big 12, and could give Texas a little bit of a fit there in that football game. That would be pretty fun to watch, I think. And then at 10, you got Tennessee. I think Tennessee's in somewhere on this in this top 12. I don't know if it's going to be 10 or maybe they move them up even more. I'm really not sure what the committee will do there, but I think Tennessee's in regardless of what they do, unless they just fall flat on their face against Vandy and can't win that game. I think that's the only way that Tennessee gets left out at this point. Excuse me. Indiana at 9. They're kind of in the same boat. I mean, they're probably going to win this week. They'll be 11-1, and man, it would be Notre Dame might be a pretty interesting game to see them match up against. I think with Notre Dame's defense, Notre Dame should win that one. We just saw what Ohio State's defense did and completely disrupted Indiana. But Indiana is more tested at this point, so I think that you could. Just because of the one Ohio State game, that is, I think that Indiana would be a little bit more prepared in that football game than they were going into the Ohio State game, if that makes sense. But yeah, playing that game in South Bend, it'd be pretty incredible. And yeah, and Penn State at 7. Again, I don't agree with Penn State being at 7, but I'm trying to predict where they would be. So they get a Tennessee team going to Happy Valley. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. And I think a lot of SEC fans, from what I'm hearing, are really excited to see an SEC team go to Penn State specifically and play them. Penn State and Indiana, a lot of SEC fans are not really thinking that those are good programs. And so if these teams are in the playoffs and they're hosting games, the SEC fans want to see their team or another team from the SEC go and face Penn State. And I think that Tennessee would Tennessee fans would feel like that has to be a really good draw for them. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got on this one, Mark. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, what I guess kind of not really something to add. I guess kind of a question. I guess for all of you guys and for myself too. I don't really know the answer, but what if Georgia loses to Texas in a rematch or loses to Texas A&M in the SEC championship? What do you think? I mean, it's all speculation because this college football playoff committee, we don't know what they're going to do. But a Georgia with 3 losses, one of which being in the SEC championship, what does that mean? Then what do you do with the Georgia team? Um, That's something I've been kind of pondering today. What do you do with these teams that lose in these conference championship games, that already have 2 losses, out of the Big 12? The loser of that game is gonna have 3 losses. So do you throw in a Big 12 team that didn't play in the conference championship game that's got 2 losses in their spot? Because it seems like this college football playoff committee really likes to just count wins and losses. And college football, I mean, your record is not really what you are not what your record says you are in college football like you are in the NFL. The NFL is it's totally different, but um I'm just that's what I'm curious about. What happens when one of these teams plays the extra game in the conference championship and they lose it and that's their third loss? That's one of the things I'm most interested to see in this college football playoff. And I guess nobody has
Well,
an answer to that. I guess everybody's got their opinion, but
well, my answer is if you have a third loss and you're being compared to other teams with 3 losses, you have more wins than them, right? So that's to me that should matter more so than like you can't just look at the fact that they both have 3 losses. At that point, you're 10-3, they're 9-3, so you have an edge. You have a half game edge on them when it comes to the record.
yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see, what the respect is on that. I mean, there's going to be some scenario in which one of those teams loses and they're going to get left out of the top 12, and there's going to be a team at large that didn't play in the game and in a conference championship, like Notre Dame. We're going to throw Notre Dame probably in a spot of somebody that played in a conference championship and lost. Or it's just interesting how this dynamic is, and this is why I don't like automatic bids. I'm just going to be honest with you, Mason. I think it should just be the top 12. I don't like the conference championship guaranteeing you a bid or whatever. Why? I already see it in the comment section right now. Need to get rid of the conference championships. I agree. Because if we're bringing in a bigger and bigger playoff here, what does a conference championship mean? Us as Georgia fans, we sat here for the last week, and Lane Kiffin said it in a press conference that they didn't even want to go to the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
We win and we go to the playoffs. That's what we're going to end up having to do in this sport is getting rid of the conference championships, but bring back divisions. That's what we're going to have to do, and that way you know who won what divisions and things like that, and use that
Yeah,
as
but there are too
placement.
many, and I've heard that argument, but there are too many teams in these conferences to have a division. Like there are 18 teams in the Big Ten, so if you had a division 9-9, you would just be playing the teams in your division, and then what
Well,
one
you
more
still play cross
crossover, I guess.
division. You still play cross division. You don't have to play everybody in your division, but it helps for figuring it out at the end. If you don't have a conference championship to decide it, you need to know who won each little region or whatever. I feel
Yeah,
like,
I feel like you could do tiebreakers though, and
yeah.
just like they do it now, and figure it now, and just name the number one team based off of the conference, or based off of the regular season, and that's your champion, and then move forward to the playoffs. But that's one less game that these teams get to play, and the conferences get to make money on. That's a huge moneymaker for the conference. I don't think the league offices would bite on that.
Well,
Um,
not without somebody from the college football playoff committee waving a little more money in front of their face, saying, "Well, we'll just add another round, and then you get another $5 or $10 million every team that you get in that extra round." And
yeah,
so then you start talking numbers, and that's all stuff that doesn't even benefit any of us at all. But those are conversations that obviously run this sport, and have
yeah,
got us to where we're at. And in any sport, any corporation, that obviously there's a money aspect to it. We can't expect college football to be any different. But um, it's going to be a rocky road, I think, the next few years trying to get to a place where we've got all the kinks and bugs worked out of the college football playoff. But with all that being said, the bugs and all the kinks and the bumps in the roads, holy shit, they're going to be fun, dude. I mean, it's going
yeah,
to be fun to talk about. It's going to be fun to watch. There are going to be some people pissed. right? But well, and I see somebody, Peanut Butter Posse, he said, then it will be like NFL based on record. Well, what is it now? I mean, I guess I see what you're saying in a sense that it's like, okay, well, you can still lose 3 games and win your conference and get in. Okay, but um, the odds of that, first of all, are not good at all. And second of all, it's already based on record. I mean, there's no other way for us to do this really other, and that's then you bring it in the college football playoff committee, and those are humans, right? And we know what humans do. I mean, to be a human is to make errors. So anyway, it's a conversation that could obviously go on and on.
The only other thing I wanted to add on the playoff bracket is if you notice all of the SEC teams here are on one side of the bracket, and I'm wondering if there's not going to be some sort of strategery done here on the committee's behalf in an effort to keep the SEC out of having 2 teams in the actual championship game, or the Big Ten from having 2 teams. You know what I mean? I think that they have caught a lot of heat this year from SEC fans in particular, and they may try to do what they can to match up some of these SEC teams together earlier in rounds in the playoff to make sure that you don't have four SEC teams, let's say, get in. You don't want to see 4 SEC teams in the semifinals, and it's an all SEC race for the rest of the playoffs. So I'm kind of paying attention to that, and just kind of as a side note, that's something that is very interesting to me.
Yeah, it makes me wonder: would they want them all together on one side, or do they not? Would they want to spread them out? I don't know. That's interesting, because we know different networks have different games, and so that's really interesting. That is a dynamic I haven't really thought about as far as that goes.